full. Perfect. That engine. So he's arrived. But it's just absolutely baked solid the ground. I don't want to make a mess of you. How cool is that, James? Right, I promised you to see some action from Tom Pemberton's silaging. So first, there's a little bit of what I was up to this morning, then it's over to Tom Pemberton's, and then it's back to what I was doing this afternoon. You're not going to believe this. I've got up to do BBC Breakfast to talk about the weather and how dry it is. And look, it's just started to rain. Can you hear it? It's pretty much stopped after about a minute. So I've come outside. It basically rained on the car and the house, but not really much of the yard. Boat. Just at Salford Quays, got my props. We'll find the studio. This is where we had the tractors at Christmas, but there's like a big marquee on it, turned into a gallery at the moment. Big bike race coming through. We'll go around the block and get in front of me on the way home a bit. Yeah, there you go. I'll try and find the clip I've just done and put it on anyway. Maybe I'll put it at the end and we could go and have a little look at what Tom Pemberton's been up to. Did I get a video of Tom shopping? That engine, that chopper. Pure power, innit? Charlotte's bringing James up in a minute to watch because he's never seen a forage harvest for a full chat. Bit windy, but hell of a day for it. So heavy. I mean, that must be like 3 or 4 kilos, just that handful. This is the earliest Tom's ever cut grass. Oh, we're the 3rd of March today, or the 2nd. Oh, a bit lumpy there, so it's making it bark a bit. Fast track's ready. And he's full. Perfect. How fast are we going? 9 and 10k. Melting in the mirror there. Gonna get. You gotta dip it down, you boy. Has this been a flood?
Yeah, we've all got our wet spots, all of it.
We've got spots now that we've never been able to drive on for 3 years.
Yeah, it's really annoying. Right, man.
You can't put a drain in. Is it not? Where's the nearest ditch?
There's a drain. There's a drain there. Drain to have a block, the ground to pan, the ground to pan.
Right, we want marks out of 10 for Tom backing in the shed. It's a bit of an S-bend. 18 ton going to come out now, hopefully. So from starting to back up to going forwards, it's about a minute. I'll film some of the others coming in. The TM320's got a butt brake on and dual wheels. He's shoving it up. Folding butt brake so it fits down the road. And he has a crate that goes on it to carry the wheels. Power. I think Tom's dad is on the case rolling it with the 3 ton spiky roller. Washed it down, getting all the air out. That's why telehandlers and shovels and pivot steers, whatever, have a lot more power than you think, because when they're pushing that much weight like a bulldozer up a hill in soft grass, it just absolutely saps the power. Smells quite new, that. And then there's some cows. For anyone that's not seen any cows, I'm just gonna quick look around his cow shed, and then turn round now. The fast track is backing in with the Brown trailer. So he's arrived, I don't know, 3.5 minutes after Tom arrived. Kieran's on that. There's 2 JCBs in the shed at the moment. About 3.5 minutes later, here's the case with another trailer on. With Luke on it. He's filling the corners. Backboard open. Trailer going up. See, it's got 2 rams on it. Our yellow Richard Weston only has 1 ram, so it needs a little bit less oil and tips probably a little bit quicker. Depends on the hydraulic flow of the tractor as well, to be fair. Remember this bucket brush that we made, me and Tom, one day? Well, over 2 days, 18 months apart. Well, looks like he's been using it. Did you see the digger, James?
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going now?
Thomas Kite.
Yeah, you excited, Clara? How cool is that, James? James, good. You having fun, Clara?
Hey, Clara. Hey, James.
You waving? To the wall. Oh, look at the steam train, James. Icy Eye, everyone used to have Icy Eye socks in Witness. Bit of a con now, he was getting pushed by a diesel. There's Olly's hairdressers now. We're going to the Transport Museum over there now. It's an interesting billboard for a newspaper. This is the Transport Museum. Fendt green. It's a big train here. LNS, what does that mean? London Manchester Service or Liverpool Manchester Service? The RF for Tom Rees there, delivering a grey Fergie by the looks of things. Little traction engine there. The Uncle Norman, well, my mum's Uncle Norman made one of them, even my great uncle. Atkinson truck as well. Yeah, they've got like a birthday bumper. Someone decided on Friday night to pile this up completely with wood chip and doze it in. So of course now it's bridged at the bottom and won't fall down. So I've got to go in with the bucket, pull it all back, and probably have to get the mini digger here to get down to see what's going on. I've told that person time and time again not to do it. It is never ever ever run out of fuel unless there physically is none in here. It does not need shoving forwards because it's got a scrape, it's got a walking floor that it all sits on, but they still insist on shoving it in for no reason whatsoever other than to cause problems 24 hours later when it all builds up like a Weetabix and won't fall down because it's shoved itself against the wall. Well, it's not shoved itself against the wall, someone has physically shoved it against the wall and then it's pushed itself even further. Yeah, I'm in a bad mood because it is the only thing that ever goes wrong, and it wouldn't go wrong if it was just left alone. So I've dug and I've scraped and I've pulled back that side. I'm now going to do the same that side and then it should be fine then. Yeah, it was all piled up here and it bridged underneath, it wasn't dropping out, just like in this corner here, so I'm just kicking it in now. So it should be fine now, once I kick that through. As we do every day, we're going to do the birthday bumpers. We've got Scott Bourne on there, Brodie Hewitt is the 2, Claire Macaulay is the big 5-0. We've got Rosie Ashworth on there. Is it Ashworth or Ainsworth? No, it's Ashworth, I think. And then Sonny Atherton is 1 day old, so congratulations to mum and dad there. And John Ladingham is 46. And we're now up to 90,290 raised just from reading out people's birthdays today. So thanks for watching, and we'll see who's on tomorrow. In fact, thanks for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the bit at Tom's and a little bit of Thomas the Tank Engine there as well for you. And I will see you all tomorrow. Here's the bit I did for the BBC anyway at the end, like I promised.
Killick has this report.
It's one of the pleasures of spring to see the brown trees and fields transform to a lush green. But this year, the lack of rain is severely delaying that growth. These fields north of York should be a deep green by now, not the dusty brown you see. They're farmed by Nick Wilson.
Yeah, so this is a field of spring barley sown this spring obviously, and you can see now how dry it is getting, and the ground's actually cracking And if I put that in, we're over 11-inch deep of these cracks already in April.
Wow. What does that mean? That it's really dry beneath the soil?
Very dry underneath, so the ground is shrinking because the moisture's being drawn away, and it shows there's no moisture for the crop.
February, March and April typically see around 184 millimetres of rainfall. This year, the same period only saw 78 millimetres of rain, making it the third driest on record. In contrast, the same time last year was the sixth wettest on record, with 300 millimetres of rain. This was how the fields looked then, sodden and unworkable, and both extremes caused serious problems for farmers. But it's the dry weather now that hits wheat yields in particular the hardest. It's not just arable crops that are affected by the lack of rain. Livestock needs plenty of tender spring grass, but it's just not there. The goats at Tancred Farm Shop are eating it as quickly as it grows.
We're giving them a bit of hay that we wouldn't normally need to do at this time of year, and that will be depleting our winter stocks. Hopefully we won't have to keep doing that for too long. Otherwise we're going to have to buy some in, and it'll be in short supply if it's dry everywhere else.
You're wanting some rain then, aren't you?
I am, yes please, if you can organise it.
Some homegrown veg is also in short supply, especially asparagus and lettuce. Dean is stocking whatever he can get hold of while hoping for rain. But with weather patterns seeming to set in for longer, the parched fields may be waiting some time for the soaking they urgently need. Kathy Kinnick, BBC News.
Let's talk more about this with Olly Harrison. He's an arable farmer, farms over near Liverpool on Merseyside. And Olly, just how tough are you finding it?
We just can't get the right weather at all, can we? I mean, I think last year we were talking about how wet it had been. Now it's just, I mean, I don't know whether you can see this on your camera, but it's just absolutely baked solid, the ground. I don't want to make a mess of your floor, but,
You've just pulled that out of a field this morning.
Yeah, there's no moisture whatsoever in that ground, and, we're trying to grow a crop of wheat.
It's like a rock, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you say, it's so different from last year, and you're in a part of the country which people would imagine is actually quite wet normally.
Yeah, no, generally it is. The northwest of England doesn't get the weather patterns. I mean, they say it always rains in Manchester. Well, often it dumps on us before it gets here. This year it's just sort of the other way around. There's places that have been getting rain sort of further south where it's traditionally been drier, but it's just missed us every time.
So just explain, there are 2 bottles of, coloured water that you
I got that out of the toilet this morning.
Just explain, what am I holding here?
So the one that's pretty much full is the rain we had in the last about 90 days last year.
This one?
Yep. And then the other one is how much we've had in the 90 days this year. Actually in inches, so, when we
That's
talk
what,
about...
2 inches, if that?
If it landed on the floor and never went down the drain or never soaked into the soil, that was how much water the big, and then that's how much we've had this year.
Yeah. And what does that mean for your crops that you've put in sort of already this year or whatever? What does it mean?
They've just not really grown for the last 6 weeks. They're probably around this high when they should be there, and they should be what they call tillering. So they put out loads of different shoots and produce loads of seed heads. Well, instead they're just in survival mode. They're just trying to stay growing, and they're only 3 or 4 inches high.
And is it too late for them now, or could a deluge help?
It'd probably just mean that what shoots are there...
Put those down, they're right blocking your picture of your...
What shoots are there may fill, but there's no... You'd normally like to get about 10 or 15 tillers on a wheat plant. Well, there'll be 3 or 4.
And then ultimately, what's the knock-on of all of that right the way down to the supermarket shelf?
Well, no yield, so we won't get any yield out of it. The supermarket shelf probably won't make a difference because everything we buy is everything we sell is on a global market. They'll just move grain around the world. It won't really matter to the supermarkets. From an economy point of view, it's not good because we're going to have to import more wheat, we're going to have to import more grains. So all that money is going out of the country, and we'll probably never see it again. So it's not ideal, really. And
from the point of view of a farmer who is trying to run a business, I think you lost nearly £250,000 last year.
From wet weather.
From wet weather. What's the dry weather going to cost you?
Equally the same, I would guess, yeah.
And how sustainable is that as a business model?
One of them disasters in 10 years is sort of survivable, but we've had... This could be the 5th in the last 6. So you really do question now what we're doing. There's a reason that we've traditionally had government supporting agriculture over time, because we do need to produce food. We do need to feed ourselves. If something goes wrong in the world, then we can't feed ourselves. And at the moment now, that any sort of level of a subsidy to mitigate that damage of the weather patterns has disappeared. And so you just now think, well, actually, rather than lose money every year, I may as well just give up.
And is that something that I know farming, although there are thousands of farms across the country, it's a small community. Is that something that other farmers are saying to you as well?
Yeah. I mean, the economics of growing corn in the UK at the moment now aren't there at all, and haven't been for a while, and don't look any better. And that's the sad thing. You always wait for that perfect year, and you start again, but you can't afford to do it, because you're risking your home now completely.
And as you say, that makes you question whether you can actually continue to be a farmer. Yeah,
we have some diversification, which kind of props us up. I mean, you call it diversification, but it's technically throwing good money after bad. We can make money out of our holiday let and some of the different diversifications we've got going. I mean, even the YouTube actually pays well, but you make that money in one area, and then you spend it on growing corn that then costs you more to grow than you harvest off it. And then you just think, well, actually, I may as well have not planted it in the first place. And there's a lot of farmers thinking that now.
And do you see this as as you mentioned, if it was once every 10 years, it's survivable, it's been 5 out of 6 or whatever. Do you see this now as the pattern going forward? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, is it climate change? But I mean, if it's too wet, they say it's climate change. If it's too dry, they say it's climate change. It is just weather. But the economics have changed so much, especially since the war in Ukraine. Our input costs are 3 or 4 times more than they used to be. But the output price is the same it was 20 years ago. So the balance is just so different now that the economics are just not there anymore. Thank you so much for coming in. Really, I know farmers are used to getting up early, but we're very grateful to you for taking the time to get up and come in. Thanks ever so much, Olly. Thank you. It's good to see you, as always. Olly Harrison there, talking to us about some of the problems affecting farmers at the moment.
That is about all for today. If you made it this far, let us know what's your favourite bit been today. What's yours been, James?
James.
James.